what does success look like to me? What am I driving towards? And those things are very personal. It's amazing what you can accomplish when there's trust in the room. And when you remove that trust, it's remarkable how inefficient you can become.
And when you've got guys around you who are buying into your vision and pushing towards the same thing, it's energizing.
Alrighty, so what's going on?
Holy cow, man. Weird year.
Yeah.
And it's big changes from last year.
Yeah.
But also, just in Prince George right now, the economy's just sucking. Just sucking. But also, I feel like me and my team dropped the ball.
Okay.
I had one of my salesmen yesterday tell me something on our group chat that just I didn't enjoy at all.
Okay.
Because we're supposed to be starting up a second crew that I'm running.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I saw them put, and I know we've been thin on work, but ultimately I trust these guys with the sales and operations.
Yeah.
Because and it's important to them that I don't micromanage them.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's always been part of the plan that when school's out, I would take these couple new young hires, one of our other veteran guys, and run a second crew.
Yeah.
And that's next week.
Yeah.
And so yesterday, which was Thursday, which is like 4 days before I'm supposed to start crew number 2, they put out the schedule for next week.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, I'm like, hey guys, like there's nothing on there for the second crew. And his response was, well, I'll just be plain about it. We just don't have enough work. And I'm like, dude, that's not acceptable. And he said, well, me and the sales guy have done all these things. I'm like, yeah, but I literally went down and bought a dump trailer for this week.
Right.
And I've committed to a couple young workers to come work.
Yeah.
If this was the case and it was this then, or Thursday the week before,
right,
to pivot. And not only that, but it's just like right away, like we have a media guy. And the company has resources to generate more leads.
Yeah.
And the cost of not running a second crew.
Right.
Like, yeah, we might have to spend some money to get that crew going.
Yeah.
But the production of that crew would way more than justify the cost to generate the leads and get some conversions. So right away, contact, this is our situation. What's the strategy we can do? So we're going to like right away putting resources and ideas into it. Getting the team involved.
Yeah.
And the problem I'm having right now is my sales guy's really mad at me. I think he's been stressed about it.
Right. Sure.
And like he's been genuinely trying, and I get that.
Yeah. Sure.
But it's also like clearly a breakdown in communication between him, me, and the team, because we have these team focus meetings. And if things were this dire, where he's just going to outright say you can't run the second crew,
right?
To me, that was just like, whoa, how am I like? This is your job.
Yeah.
Like, you're responsible for keeping, and if you aren't able to, you have to come to the team and have us help, have us bring resources, have us bring ideas.
Well,
I don't know. I tried to be professional about it, and I was probably a little aggressive.
But this is like it's a human thing, right? Like if you're working in an area where you're incompetent or you're in a steep learning curve, for example, the media stuff that we're doing right now, like we're all learning together. So it's really, really easy to say, yo, I have no idea. Like it's really easy. Yeah. And then to have, because right now that's exactly what we're doing. It's like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 team members ish that are working on media stuff in and around Forge, Ridgeline. Like there's a chunk of people.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's their day job and they know what they're doing, and we're hiring them to do a certain portion of things, and they do what they're doing really well. Others, it's their day job, but we're stretching them into new areas. Mm-hmm. So there's this learning curve, and then but then most importantly, all of us have not worked together before. Like we're new to each other, and so it's really easy for me to say, "Hey, like, what do we do here to improve this?" Or to be told, "Hey, you're doing this wrong." Like I can be told pretty harshly at this point, which I'm not, because everyone's really polite, but I could be told. I mean, and our social media people have been not harsh on me, but like, come on, like we need action from you for us to do our job well, right? So there's this there's this learning curve. It's not hard. However, your salesman's really good.
Yeah.
He's been in the saddle for a long time. For him to say, hey, I'm struggling this year, that's a harder conversation. And so I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. It should happen.
Yeah.
But I understand why it's all of a sudden comes to a head, because I'm guessing that he probably was thinking, well, I've, a couple more days, these leads will come in, we'll shuffle things around, everything will be fine. All of a sudden, D-Day's here and it's not fine.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's hard.
Well, the thing that drives me nuts is like, if there's a struggle, I need to know. And this is something like that my character really sucks at, is my guys really struggle to come to me and express when they need help or when things aren't going good. It always seems to be left until the building's burning down, and then conflict is erupting instead of being proactive about working through these things together. So it's been a wild week. I had a really intense conversation with my foreman on the island,
right?
And I pushed him out. I was so he wasn't taking accountability for things. He was taking credit for all the successes of the island crew,
even though he was just working as part of a team, obviously.
Yeah. And I called him out on it, and I pushed him out. Like, my intention was to try and have him move on.
Right.
And he quit mid-conversation when I said, I told him he was being arrogant for taking the credit from his other teammates around him, and he responded to that, and he said, well, this is retarded, I quit. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. And apparently, and I was talking to my wife about this last night, it's frustrating because, like, after dealing with that, after dealing with the situation yesterday, I also had a builder. I reached out to a builder, and he's said, hey, like, how's your roofer treating you? Is there anything we can do for you, sort of thing? And he responded with, I'm fine, thanks for checking in. By the way, you let go one of my good buddies, and he just reamed into me for culture and questioned my faith and background. And I was just like, yesterday, it just...
Wait a second.
It's just...
That guy down on the island was this other guy's buddy?
No, this is a different guy.
Oh. Up
north. And it's just like, holy cow, no matter how hard I seem to be trying and to uphold a certain standard, everyone's pitting me as the bad guy right now.
Oh,
even in terms of my own team right now, in terms of my reputation in the community amongst employees. Because even talking to my lead guy on the island, I'm like, how did things go with that guy because he had to get the work truck and everything. He's like, oh, he's fine. I'm like, what do you mean? Are you sure? Is he okay? And he's just like, yeah, he still loves the crew. He loves Ridgeline. He just really doesn't like you.
Right.
And it's just like, this is really... I feel like I'm just whining at this point, but it's getting tiresome after 10 years of every conflict that goes wrong, every sideways thing. It's just always my frickin' fault, and I'm getting super tired of it. So,
well, okay, let me. That's a lot of stuff at once, and this is the interesting thing about business. I mean, this is where it hits the road, is that most of us have the ability to handle one or two things going sideways in a short period of time. Yeah. And interestingly, what I found talking to businessmen over the years is that what separates like businessmen who love what they do and businessmen who don't is that they're able to shrug things off easier than most, including you. I've seen you shrug off. Like, I've talked to some of your guys, just to put this in context, because not all your guys hate you.
No.
Okay.
No.
Like let's be honest. And
got a good relationship.
And a lot of your guys have been with you for a long time, and you have some serious retention. So let's not however, when you're going through this kind of personnel stuff, it doesn't feel that way, but this is the truth. Like, just to add some perspective, like, you've got guys that love you. You've got tons of people in the community that love you and what you do. And not everyone understands you, but that's a given, because when you're in business, like, it's remarkable how different mentalities can be, and there's many people who just don't understand businessmen, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. However, I think that when you have multiple hits in a short succession, it is a very different thing, because each of these individual issues that you're talking about, I know you, and you're able to roll through these things. I know that. It's when they come, when it's like a shotgun fire, where all of a sudden, I mean, it's kind of like a shotgun, right? Like even ricocheted pellets from a shotgun will penetrate your skin, but one pellet from a shotgun ricocheting and hitting you is, unless it hits you just in the wrong spot, it's actually not that big a deal. And I know this. However, if you get hit by a full blast from a shotgun, I mean, they're all little pellets, but it'll take you out, right? Like, or has the potential to. So I think that's what we're dealing with here. Let me break this down a tiny bit. On the island, you had your second in command, I guess, because you have your,
I feel like my manager.
Yeah, your manager.
And this was his foreman.
Yeah, so your manager's been with you for a while, and he was dealing with this stuff, and he's a wonderful guy, and he's doing a great job. Yeah. So all good. But then the guy that he essentially hired to fill the key on-site role was doing quite well.
He's always been a phenomenal tradesman.
Right. Okay.
But he's always had a really selfish mindset.
Okay.
Again, all the values and stuff, and it's been an ongoing issue, and he was pushing back against the.
I like that, not an ongoing, but an on-growing. It's different.
Yeah,
that's good. So the hope was, and here's the thing that's interesting, because when you're hiring people, especially when you're hiring with a small company, sometimes you hire in faith. Like you hire with someone that you're like, this person could go either way. And in a case like this, he's got a good skill set, right? So skill set's strong, and I think you knew that coming in. And character-wise, you're like, I'm not sure if he's going to be a good fit, but if he can be, he'll be a wonderful asset, right?
Yeah.
Like and I do think that people say that a zebra doesn't change its stripes, and I think there's some truth to that, but I also think that a lot of people live kind of on the edge of a knife, and I think that they could go one way or the other when it comes to how well they work with a team, how well they manage their own lives in general, and it can easily be extraneous things outside of work that will take someone out at the knees and will create this, like, because they're on the edge of a knife, all of a sudden they're not bringing their A game to work because there's something going on in the background. I mean, I've had employees over the years who have gone through marital issues or gone through friendship things that are hard, or even things with their parents that are hard. It can be enough. If someone's character isn't developed enough, they don't have the maturity, it can be enough to literally take them so that they're useless at work.
Yeah, and this guy had a circumstance, like a devastating circumstance he went through in the winter.
Yeah.
But again, like with all of our guys, we try and take care of them.
Oh, totally.
And
totally.
We gave him a couple weeks off paid in the winter when we didn't have revenue. So he could take time and grieve.
Yeah.
And because he lost one of his close buddies. And that, but I mean, months and months later.
Yeah.
I mean,
after I'm
the guy's pouring into him, it's just like,
I'm not
he's just
saying
taking advantage at a certain point.
I'm not saying he wasn't given a chance. I don't think that that's the case, but I do think that if there is it takes a certain amount of maturity to be able to leave what's outside of your life. Like, professionals are amazing. Because you can see someone. In fact, here's an example. I worked way back in the day. I worked with German television, and I was at a big event, and I was working, like a huge event, and I was working with the key guy. Like, they're kind of Ron McLean if you're Canadian, like who was, at least now he's not, he's kind of getting old and fading out, but at the time he was like the key guy for Canada who kind of held all the broadcasts together. This was this guy for German television at the time, and I was working as his kind of behind the scenes, off camera helper dude. This is a long time ago. I was young. And through this whole broadcast, which was the biggest event I'd ever been a part of in my life, and I was super nervous, and I'm like, they're all speaking in German, and I have enough German to kind of know what's going on, but it literally felt like the whole time the wheels were coming off. It was super intense, like super intense. And I was being told to go here and get this guy and do this and do that, and I'm like, oh Lord. I'm just doing what I'm told. I'm like tight as a nut. And as soon as the cameras went off at the end of the broadcast, he turns to me, all right, Canadian, high five. And I'm like, we're okay? And I realized that this guy knew how to, like, when the camera was on, he could pull it together. Behind the scenes, it wasn't cool, but he was a professional. Like, he was a professional. But that takes a high level of maturity.
Yeah.
And most people don't have that.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of people, when things go apart in their life, and then it snowballs. And even if you're doing what you can from a business side, you can't take responsibility for someone's personal decisions. You can't.
But I think the overall thing that the struggle is here, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, founders, and owners will relate to this. Employees will never understand, not even partners will ever understand, that your job as the owner and founder of a company is to share the victories, but you get to wear the blame.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest.
It's true.
And no employee will ever understand that.
Yeah.
And they're like, they just look at you like, oh, you're at the top of the company. You're so lucky. And it's just like, we look down and we're like, man, you want to trade spots?
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't accept any of the victory for myself because it's not my victory to take. Yet it's my job to take the blame for everything.
It's true.
Every single thing that's wrong in my company right now, guess who takes all the blame for it? I do.
Yeah.
And that's the job of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Sometimes it sucks when it's the odd thing and things are going pretty smoothly. It's like you said, you can roll with the punches. But when you have a day like right now where it's like multiple things, different angles all coming at you, and it's just like the guy we let go in Prince George, I didn't even get to work with the guy, and I agree that he had we didn't communicate. My crew didn't communicate well with him, and when I let him go, which in hindsight was a mistake on our team's part because I hired him. The crew didn't take him, and then I let him go.
Right.
And he's like, why? And I didn't have a really good explanation because I didn't work with him.
Right.
So ultimately he's going out there now and it's leaving bad taste in people's mouth about me. And it's just, so if you want to run a really big company, just be aware it's going to have its severe downsides.
Yeah,
it just is.
It does. It does.
And I'm actually even looking at big businessmen that I've heard so many negative things about. Yeah. And I'm like, but they're very successful. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you if I actually sat down with that guy and had a conversation, he's probably not a bad guy. You just, when you're in a high position in a company and you're growing and you're getting a big influence, you're just going to, every little negative thing you do wrong is just going to be publicized.
Totally.
And that sucks.
Well, and it's interesting because I mean, both you and I, we have friends that run all kinds of businesses, and I can't even, and it is interesting because I'm naturally a peacemaker. I normally don't get into conflict with people, and so I tend to have good relationships with a lot of these guys, and some of them, it's kind of funny because sometimes I'll be talking to one large business. Well, okay, here's a case. We were doing a large charity project a number of years ago, and we had massive contribution from the community, and it was outstanding. But I'll remember that there was this one guy in this one field. He looks at me, and he's like, "What's that guy doing here?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, that guy's a jerk." And I'm like, how's he sending his crew in here? I'm like, he offered to help. And then it was funny because the guy talking to me, many people in the community think that he's crazy. and they're both like, and the interesting thing is like they were getting notes from the people that were being assisted through this project. They were getting notes, these big, tough, hard guys that hated each other were putting notes up on their fridge of appreciation because inside them, they're real people. Yeah. And they care. And they can, both of these parties contributed hugely to something that they had no reason to. Absolutely none. And so I feel like you're right. I think that one thing when people look at businessmen, they tend to be jealous. And that's a strange thing to me because I often feel that way. I'm like, I'm not sure that you know what you're being jealous of. If you're meant to do business, you're going to throw your hat in the ring. If you're not meant to do business, don't be jealous of the people who are in the ring because it's not for everyone. No. And I think that even for myself, I know where my limits are, and my limits are a lot more restrictive than I would like to think in some ways. And that's not being narrow-minded. It's just like the capacity to handle exactly what you're handling right now, I find really hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not simple. And I will take whatever I hear and I will multiply it times 10 in my own head, because that's just my nature. And I don't know what times, how many times you multiply it, but it's like if someone gets upset at you for something, you don't know if they're going to rebound really quickly or not. You don't know like how severe it actually is to them. You know what you hear, but you don't know actually what's going on. And so therefore, I think that we often will take criticism, judgment, and just then turn that into judging against ourselves, which is human nature. And I don't know how you don't. I think people who don't do that at all and who always just think they're right, I think that they die without friends. Like, I think that's like, I really do believe that. Like, I think that there are some, because they say that like a really good CEO is somewhat psychopathic. Like there's a correlation there. And I think that like I've read a ton of biographies and autobiographies of really famous big business people. And most of them I come away with like, I don't know if I'd want to be their friend. Like, I don't know if I would trust them. I don't know if, just on a personal level. But I think as small businessmen, we want to be human. Like, we want to have friends.
Yeah.
And so being able to make the hard calls and have to do the things that we have to do. I mean, in a case in point, so you let go of a guy here and our community is small. So sure enough, the next call you make, a guy knows him.
Yeah.
That's hard. Like, because you can't possibly make a decision, or I shouldn't say you can't possibly, but it's unlikely that you'll make a decision that won't have a domino effect.
Yeah.
Because our community is small. In a big city, I think you can often get away with that kind of thing and not have the same kind of repercussions because it's just such a big pool of people. Mm-hmm. But here, man, things get around. Like, there's just no way around it. It's interesting because this kind of stuff usually gets discussed like 6 months later. And so people will be like, 6 months ago I had these issues. But what we're talking about today is very current. It's actually very real.
Yeah, I was up late last night venting through my wife about this. Having the annual conversation of like, am I even supposed to be doing this? Should I find a different career?
Yeah.
Because it's
hard.
Yeah.
So now it comes down to a couple things. Like, number one is that you have to reestablish in whatever a current way your purpose and what you're doing. And that's something that you have to do. Like, when you get all kinds of challenges, and I think about like, if you internalize these issues that you're having right now too intensely, you would walk away. Like, if you let these things grow and multiply inside of you, then all of a sudden your ability to function at the level you need to function or to lead the crew that you lead would start to diminish. Yeah. If you don't internalize it at all, you become that psychopath where it's like, now you don't care about people's feelings. So that's not an option. Right? Like, because you care about what you do and you care about people, you care about your families, because it's also, everything that happens to you also happens to your family, right? Like, they can't disassociate themselves from that. And so you have to take these kind of things seriously, but you also can't allow things to spiral in such a way that you lose your positive and forward momentum, I guess.
It's an interesting mindset to deal with this from the beginning. Like, ultimately, it's my fault. And you have to take responsibility because, like, everyone you hire, you hired. Every circumstance that comes through your company, you're ultimately the gateway for it. What's hard about it is recognizing that you're human, you're going to fail.
Sure.
Yet, you need to embrace these things and not get beat up by them, but learn and grow and learn and teach your team as well. Communicate through them, and because you have to embrace these things, you just do. Otherwise, you're not going to be growing as an individual or as a leader. And the hardest part about it is I try and be as loving of a leader and businessman in my community as I possibly can. The amount of outreach and stuff we try and do is, and this is just for context, but it's like unprecedented in the community. I know very few companies that do the level of outreach that my company does. Yeah. Despite that, and despite my hardest efforts, if you're going to be a bigger player in your community, there will just be people who despise you.
For sure.
And that's,
Yeah, for sure.
it's weird. And like, I don't want to despise anybody. I don't despise anyone. I believe everyone's can have their opinions and has their own gifts and values. And it's just, at times, and I think what I'm going through right now, I've dealt with many times, but it's not a constant thing with me.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons why I want to be vulnerable and open about it, is the fact that I know a lot of entrepreneurs deal with this, and not a lot of leaders deal with this.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that I've had enough snowball up to me right now that it's just like, it is actually piercing the skin, and it's breaking through to me right now. It's just like, well, let's talk about this, because like, let's be frank, it does suck. And it's just like, you've done nothing but try your absolute best to support your team, your community, your business. You deal with all the liabilities, the stress. You're responsible for feeding everyone on your in your company and their families. Totally. And ultimately, when the smallest things go wrong, everyone looks and points at you, and it's just like, what the hell, man? Yeah. And you're just like, all you can do is say, I'm sorry, I'll try and do better.
Yeah.
And
and I think saying I'm sorry, if you feel like you failed them in any way, is the right thing to say. If you haven't failed someone, I'm careful about that, because sometimes if you're going to apologize for something where you haven't done something wrong, that can be a bit of a spiral.
But almost every circumstance, through communication, like we always have a part to blame.
Oh yeah. And I think, but I guess as I've gotten older, one of the things that I'm careful for is to apologize for the piece that at least I understand is for sure my fault.
Yeah.
And make sure that I don't apologize for someone else's mistake, because and this is I'm not sure this is an issue for everybody. I think there's certain types of people this is an issue for, but if I apologize for something that I haven't done wrong, I all of a sudden start to somehow judge myself as if I did that wrong. And more importantly, somehow internally, it feels to me like if I'm apologizing for something that I actually haven't done wrong, then all of a sudden I'm trying to correct something that I shouldn't be correcting. And that's a problem in life, because there's some things like, so if you look at what's going on right now, some of the things that you're being challenged on and you're being criticized for are actually good things.
Yeah.
Like you letting go of your foreman down south is important for the rest of your crew.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
It's important. And if you apologize for, you can't apologize for that, because what you did is that, if we break this down, I'm not saying that you handled this guy flawlessly, for sure not. I'm sure that there's issues, but overall, if you've got someone especially in a leadership position, and you're not with him day to day, so you can't influence him or catch those nuances day to day. So you have to take the overall trajectory of where he's at. And if he's becoming toxic in your company, I mean, all the great leaders say, man, the worst thing you can do for your company is to keep someone on that's toxic.
Yeah.
Because it demotivates everyone else around them. So my point is, that's a hard situation. Firing is never easy.
Yeah.
And it's always feels gross, but it's necessary so there's something very positive about that. Is there something in the process that could have been done better? Probably.
Yeah. In all three situations I'm dealing with right now, I can look at all of them and been like, I should have done this, I should have done that, should have done this.
Right.
And because ultimately, again, and this needs to be your mindset as the leader of an organization, as the director, decision maker of a company, you need to figure these things out to mitigate them and not let them happen again. The case with the foreman we let go on the island, it actually, that one bothers me the least out of all of them. Because ultimately,
I get
that was best case scenario.
For sure.
My fear going through dealing with him and all the conversations I had with everybody is I need to be very careful how I handle this guy, because he brought a lot of our other crew on.
Sure. And
they really respect and like him. And I'm if my ultimate goal with him would have been to try and help change his mindset to be more of a team player and not such a lone soldier.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely trying to do that. And ultimately, when someone's just got such a deep-rooted belief in the way they are, you're not going to be able to change their beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the outcome of that, and my biggest fear with that, it couldn't have actually come out any better, because my fear was that he would hurt the crew.
Right.
And the crew was very understanding because he ultimately quit.
Yeah.
I was worried he would go online and slander the company.
Yeah.
And so how do I get better case scenario than he still loves the crew, he still loves the company,
Sure.
he just doesn't like you. And it's just like, okay, I guess
So
it still hurts. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's still like,
so you took one for the team in a sense.
I guess that's my job.
Ish. Yeah.
And I don't like the fact that I have multiple guys running around out there who think I'm a
tyrant.
a tyrant or just a bad person.
Right.
That's the thing. Like last night, I actually honestly asked my wife, I'm like, am I a bad person? Like, because I have a builder in the community, I have an ex-foreman and ex-tryout who are all just like, well, man, you suck. Well, it's just like, well, maybe I do a little bit.
And we all do a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we all have pieces of us. I mean, I always say we all need redemption. Like we do. And it's a real thing. However, I know you, and you get up every morning with the intention of being a blessing to people around you. You get up every morning with the intention of taking whatever skill set you have and playing that out to the fullest. And the thing, it's interesting in life because if you are swinging for first base, it's a very different life than if you're swinging for the fence. And you tend to swing for the fence, which means that there are going to be some casualties. Like you will strike out at times. And maybe you don't, maybe you're swinging these days, maybe like it's hard to say. It's an interesting analogy, but point being, the harder you swing, the more chance there is that there will be some casualties, but there's also going to be some massive wins. Mm-hmm. And I think that for us as business owners, the biggest wins, in my opinion, are when you take someone who doesn't really know where they're going in life, doesn't really have a purpose, and as far as like in their day to day, and they come into your company and you slowly see them become someone. You see them like start to have purpose, start to have dignity. Their shoulders start to square. Their eyes start to get clearer. They're not staring down anymore. They'll look at you in the eye, and all of a sudden their skill set improves. And no matter where they go in life, like you can see you're cheering them on. From like whether they stay in your company, whether they move on, you're cheering them on because you know that you had a part in like helping someone to recognize who they are and to become. I mean, we deal with mostly guys, so to say to become a man, it's not exclusively men, but it's just like we tend to have mostly men in our companies, and so, but to see someone man up and become like that dignity come into them and that kind of like posture, that's one of the biggest wins we can have. And you've had those many times. You've had many guys come in like they don't know how to work. They don't know. I mean, many guys, it used to be when you were growing up on the family farm, like your dad taught you to work, and whether it was comfortable or uncomfortable, you'd learn because there was no choice. Most dads don't teach their kids to work these days. Yeah. Like that's something that you have to do once they come into your, like even people
I love to do,
and you do it well.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where people go from like, you work us too hard to all of a sudden you can see this change where like, oh, you work us hard because this actually matters. Like this is actually a big deal. And that's not something everyone comes to.
Yeah.
But if people do, man, the benefit in their lives, and I've seen it happen repeatedly in my company, in your company, like it happens.
Yeah.
And so those are the wins, and they're huge, and you can't like underestimate the difference of someone like not having a clue to all of a sudden having a clue and developing some maturity and some backbone and some shoulders. Man, like you can't underestimate what that means. However, there's people that for whatever reason, and it can be as simple as fit. You know, some people just don't fit well with your style. And so, okay. And I'm guessing this guy locally, that was the case. Like, I don't know, but just somehow didn't fit with the crew. And sometimes
just not a fit.
Yeah.
And we're also really gun shy right now because we've had a lot of really bad misfits when there's a bit of trauma on the crew.
Sure.
So like, I don't know exactly what it was, and they might've been over selective.
Maybe.
But you know what? Dealing with that trauma, I got to respect that was their decision.
But you've got to also trust your guys, right? Like you may not fully get it, But if they're saying this is incompatible, and ultimately for the person that you let go of, if it's truly incompatible, you're doing everyone a favor to do it soon rather than hang on.
Totally.
And we know this. And so this will blow over. In my opinion, the biggest issue that you're dealing with right now is you're dealing with your salesman.
Yeah.
Because that's longstanding. You love this guy. He loves you. So that's not the question here. It's like, and honestly, like, you think differently, and that's the strength between you. Like, I've seen you guys work together. You come at things from different approach. He's more detailed than you, as he should be. If he wasn't, that'd be a problem.
He's the implementer.
He is, and he does a great job. And he also wants, like he will have had a rough night last night as well, I'm sure, right? I think because so. I'm sure, because he wants everything to go well. Like, he wants it. He cares about the company. He cares about you, and and he's got dignity, right? And so to me, that's the thing, that it's just like a question of, hey, how do you take a hard, probably necessary hard conversation and turn it around into something positive? And I think that's a piece in the things that you're saying to me. Like, the builder, he wasn't using you anyways. Not a lot lost,
And after my response to his message, the conclusions you jumped to were inaccurate.
Right.
But, I'm not going to shy away and say we handled things perfectly.
Yeah.
And I actually told him, like, hey, like, this is really hard to explain over text. Like, let's get lunch.
Yeah, good.
And he actually agreed to that.
Okay,
So,
good.
Taking these things and working towards them.
Yeah.
And for context, my crew is very vulnerable right now. We've had a biggest turnover in our career in the last year, and we've let a lot of guys go, and we're really focusing on our culture, and we have like 95% of our culture right now is like the best it's ever been.
Right.
And it's my job to protect that.
Yeah.
When it comes to letting people go,
Yeah.
I'm sure going to embrace that, because I don't want there to be any hard feelings between my crew and culture at this point.
Well, I used to always hate the idea. Teachers used to always use this back when I was a kid, saying, well, one rotten apple will spoil the whole bunch. And I was always like, oh, that's so unfair. Like just because one person doesn't have a great attitude or is a negative impact doesn't mean that we're all going to be negative. But the truth is, you leave that apple in the barrel long enough, and it's just the truth.
Dude, there's so much truth to that.
Yeah.
And it can be so hard, because I've had seasons where I'm desperate for workers.
Yeah.
And you got a very skilled
and
a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And he builds relationships with you and the company. And the last thing you want to do is let this guy go.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's a bad apple.
Yeah.
And he doesn't share your values.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how nice he is and how talented he is.
Well, it's often easier if they're not nice. Because if they're not nice, then nobody buys into them. And honestly, well, it's interesting, because I've heard it said in leadership books is that it's good to hire people that you don't really like, because they'll bring a different skill set and a different mindset, etc. And I'm like, man, if the company's big enough, maybe, because you can form like nucleus smaller teams, and so long as the team works okay with the guy, etc., it's fine. But I will tell you this, like, for me personally, it is critical that I enjoy being around the people I hire.
Yeah,
it is critical, because if I don't enjoy them, in fact, it's interesting. Sorry, but I'm fickle at times. But we just went up to do this job in Fort St. John, and I was going up with one of my best buddies, and we always, like, it's such a treat to work with him, because he's very different than me, but he's just like he's witty. He loves puns, which just goes a long way with me. and we've known each other for a very long time, and he's just chill, and we just have a great time. And so then you were like, hey, I'll probably have a guy that I can send up with you. And my first instinct was like, nah, because I know Dave and I are going to have a great time, and I'm just good with that. And then I'm like, well, who are you thinking? And then you mentioned the name. I'm like, all right. Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah. I'm such a cheeseball, because really we needed an extra guy. It was important to have that. But for me, I mean, it's selfish, but it's real. It's like, I want to, in this particular job, we're driving 5 hours one way, 5 hours another. We're spending the nights in a hotel, and there's just like, if I don't like the guy, if I don't enjoy him, and in this particular case, I was thinking more about my buddy. I'm like, my buddy's really intelligent. We like to have deep conversations. And I'm like, if I have some dude that's just like a thorn in our side the whole time, it just won't be the same trip. And and that's selfish, but it's also real.
Yeah.
Because the thing that you're trying to protect right now, and I think this is the silver lining here, is like you're trying to be a protector of the things that matter as much as you can, which means to do that, there are some casualties. Yeah. And like, I just think about your manager down south. If you kept this foreman on, it's only a matter of time till they hate each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's only a matter of time. So you're trying to protect your manager from that happening. So unfortunately, he's left weaker right now with his crew than he was for the time being. But in the long term, my guess is it'll be stronger. That's the hope.
I do hope so.
Yeah. What's your final thought around this?
My biggest thing in saying all this is I just think it's good to express it because I know every entrepreneur goes through these things.
Totally.
And I'm very fortunate to have another circle of entrepreneurs that I can talk to these things about.
Totally.
And if you don't have those people, find them.
Yeah.
Get into and there's lots of resources out there. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a close buddy. In fact, I would argue it's better not to be somebody who's just going to jump on your side. Become a part of a peer group. Be honest and vulnerable. Yeah. Get involved with another group of like-minded people and entrepreneurs who can share in your pain. Yeah, totally. And give you good advice and ultimately hold you accountable. Because like I said, every one of these circumstances I'm working through, I can see how I could have handled things better. Sure. And I have that perspective because people show it to me. And you can't beat yourself up. You got to just recognize that it is what it is. We're human. We fail. We're sinners. It's okay. Yeah. All we can do is just accept what God is here. Yeah. And embrace it and grow from it.
Well, and I think when it comes to the community of people that are your peers, I think like when I hear what you're talking about, for me, it's not my job to point out necessarily what you did wrong because I think you've done a pretty good job.
It's irrelevant.
but I mean, it's relevant in that you want to fix things. But I think my job as your buddy is to be like, dude, I believe in you. Yeah. Like I really believe in what you're doing. I know it's hard and that's okay. And I've seen you get through stuff this hard. I've seen you get through stuff much harder, and I know that you'll be okay, right? And so for me as a buddy, it's like, yeah, okay, let's roll with this, and let's make the best of it. And like you said already, apologize if you need to, where you need to, not further than that, and then shake it off and keep moving because there's a lot to do. Yeah, and it's and we're in the middle of a challenging season, but man, is it good.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It is great.
It is great. It doesn't feel great right now.
It's great.
But it's great.
Right on. So. All right. Over and out.
Okay.